Good morning from sunny San Antonio, which has been a change to the weather we've had recently. Today we're looking at NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and the local chapter. Little housekeeping first. This presentation is from the San Antonio Coalition of Veterans and Families. The immediate mission, assistance for homeless vets. Please feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Very fortunate today to have two guest speakers, Cliff McGlotton and Gina Paxton. You can see their credentials, so they're well established in what they do. I have NAMI mission up here. Obviously, it has to do with mental illness. I'll let people take a chance to take a look. NAMI's resources, warm line. When I looked at this is the first time I had seen anything like this. My background is not in social work or psychology, but I thought, what an amazing thing to offer. The warm line is a pre-crisis support line. It's for when you need someone to talk to, but you're not in immediate danger. If you're experiencing a mental health crisis, then they want you to call the typical 988 number. But I thought, what a nice service. And the number's 210-939-9999. NAMI has free education classes. NAMI Homefront is a class for family, caregivers, and friends of military services members and veterans with mental health conditions. Big issue today. One was always a big issue, but now we recognize it and try to do something about it. So, Cliff, Gina, good morning. Thank you for being here today.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Good morning.
Okay, so we went over some stuff, but what does NAMI do? That sort of, to an outsider like me, I might say, gee, I heard of that and I know it does something, but I'm not really clear, or I wouldn't be really clear on what it is.
It's experiential. We have different classes for people who want to learn about recovery and develop their own mental health recovery plan. All of our classes are totally free. The one that teaches people who, if they think they have a mental health problem or want to know more, and if they want to develop a mental health recovery plan, that program's called peer-to-peer. We have a course for family members who are loving people with mental health disorders and are who are maybe caregivers for people with mental health disorders, called Family to Family. All these courses can be taught in person or online using Zoom. All of our programs are totally free, and the courses are taught by qualified people who have been there themselves, who are caregivers or people who have recovered or in recovery for mental health themselves. All the programs that we have, including for mothers with children with behavioral difficulties, are taught by people who've been there, who've done that, and who have taken instructor courses to become qualified instructors. All the materials given are totally free. And the NAMI is nationwide in every state in the United States. All the programs, as I've mentioned, are totally free, and they've been empirically researched.
So let me ask you both something. Um, within your comfort level, how did you get involved with something like this?
Well, I'll go first. For me, it was after the my husband, who is a disabled veteran, he had died by suicide, and I was just at I didn't think I could go any lower, but I was going lower. And a grief trauma counselor that I was seeing at the time, she encouraged me to get as educated as possible. And that's how I found NAMI. And I mean, I say truly, I feel like NAMI saved my life. It gave me the knowledge that I needed to know that to help guide me through that, but also gave me the support.
That sounds like an amazing story, and I can see where you would get a passion for helping others. Cliff, you're a veteran.
Amen. 20 years, 1 month, 1 day. I served in the military. Um, and I did, after I transitioned from the military, I suffered major depression. I had to go through some major surgeries on my hips and my ankles. I was a single parent with a 14-year-old and 9-year-old. And as I was transitioning from active duty and already had taken a civilian position as a social worker, the military called me back to active duty, and I suffered major depression. I came to San Antonio, and during my recovery, I found the National Alliance for Mental Illness. It was very supportive, and I swore if I ever got over my major depression, I would give back. So I've been with the National Alliance for Mental Illness since 1990. And during that time, I was able to recover and do 20 years working at the Veterans Administration and Brooke Army Medical Center as a clinical social worker, from which I retired from the Veterans Administration as a clinical social worker. So I've been with NAMI for many years, trying to give back like it gave to me. It was very helpful during my recovery.
Okay, so I can see from both your stories, besides your education, you bring a great personal depth to what it is you're teaching and your interactions. Let me talk a little bit or ask you a little bit about the course you're teaching. And for the audience, the both of you work together to teach a specific course. So can you tell us a little bit more about that course?
Well, together we facilitate NAMI Homefront, which is a course designed for caregivers of veterans, as well as active duty that have a mental health condition. It's very helpful in that it gives you knowledge that you may not have. It helps provide a roadmap to navigate through something that's very difficult. And while it can improve, it's most likely, chronic, lifelong. And the support to know that others are going through exactly what you're going through.
Okay. And how long's the course? What if someone signs up, what are they in for?
So it has six classes. It can either be done one night or one morning or whatever a week, um, for 6 weeks, or the last model that Cliff and I did, which was very successful, was 2 nights a week for 3 weeks.
So there's options, and you guys sound like you have flexibility in what you do. There seems to be a great awareness of mental health issues, especially since when I got out of the military, which wasn't even in this century. What's the barriers or the obstacles for people getting help or to
Stigma, shame, not knowing that that there are resources out there that can help, especially caregivers with their loved ones. Many of the people in our class have been suffering in silence for a long time and didn't know that there were support groups and educational courses like NAMI that could help them. Um, and in the past, I have also been involved with teaching the same course at the Veterans Administration's hospital, and it was also very well received. But a lot of in the military, in our course, we teach about the military culture, and especially for a lot of the men, they're taught to suck it up and keep things inside. And this can present, as you can imagine, a lot of difficulties. And marriages and relationships and child rearing. It can be a tremendous amount of relief when people find that there is a program like NAMI Homefront that can address all those issues. And that's knowledgeable about military culture, where you're supposed to be strong, to be Superman or Superwoman, and not have any, especially mental health problems.
Let me ask you both. Uh, Mental health has become such a big issue in DoD and in the VA. Are we making progress?
I think for me, ever since my husband's death in 2018, I haven't accessed really those resources. Um, when my husband entered the Wounded Warrior Battalion in 2009 and then he was medically retired in 2011, I felt like I tried every resource that was made known to us. I feel like I really did my best, but our situation just did not improve. And one of the things that I really, really needed was someone to say, okay, this is how to work with a disabled veteran with a mental health condition who doesn't want to seek assistance. And NAMI really helped with that. I can't say in the last 8 years if things have gotten better. I do know that after my husband's death, my two of my children that were still living at home with me, we sought family counseling um, through the Army, and all they told us was that she couldn't help us because we weren't ready for family counseling. And so then you're left with, oh well, what do I do now? Where do I go now?
So obviously you found NAMI was very helpful considering you're still working with them today.
Yeah. One of the reasons I still work with him today, like Cliff, is to give back to a program that's given me so much. But obviously, but of course, there's so much material that we cover. It's so informative, but there's a lot. And I feel like every course that I facilitate, whether it's peer to peer or home front, I get a better handle or better grasp on what's being taught.
Thank you for sharing, obviously.
I think the most effective measure of what we do is in our reviews from the students, who usually are very appreciative of the course and what they've learned during the course. And to learn that what they've been going through alone in their individual relationships with veterans, that others are going through the same thing, and they're not really alone in this class. There's a lot of times for discussion among the students. We do a lot of didactic teaching, but we also have a lot of discussions, which is experiential and from people's ongoing work with their loved ones.
Very powerful. If someone's getting out of the military today, what would you recommend to them?
Transitioning is, I think, the most difficult time for service members. And I would recommend that they stop at the transition point, try to find out all the resources that are available to help them transition, and to be open to looking at themselves, making that major life transition from the military world that's structured and ordered and where they know every day what their mission or what they're supposed to be doing, before they transition to the wild, wild world of becoming a civilian, which can be very frightening, scary, and they're going to miss that lack of structure that they maybe had for many years while in active duty, and a sense of belonging. Because in the military, they also give you a sense of purpose.
I think for veterans like my husband, who was medically retired after 17 years of active duty, he did not end his military career like he wanted to. He felt like he was in a bad place for something that was so important to him. I I wish the military would prepare their service member as well as they do when they first come in. I think one of the most important things when separating from the military is to have community. That I mean, it's I feel like it's almost a buzzword, but the isolation is so can be so deadly, truly, and just having community, building community. I think that's really important, but also that routine and structure, as Cliff was saying.
And what would you recommend for the family members? Um, I wasn't married the first time I got out of the military. I was the second. Um, I- what can you give any advice to them to help them along?
I think it's important to connect with those who know what you're going through, or who recognize that struggle, who can offer practical support and help. I had some wonderful friends, but I felt like when I expressed to them just how much I was struggling, they just didn't know what to say or how to respond because they didn't have any idea what I was going through themselves.
And of course, your course is open to family members.
Yes, yes. It's for family members or
Yeah.
friends.
Any other thoughts?
I I am not sure why NAMI is not more well known than it is. It's been around for a long time,
Yes.
um, and you would think that like professional counselors, social workers would know about it, but especially when I was going through my program in social work, no one else had heard of NAMI, but it is so invaluable. It's like Cliff said, everything is free. These are people who they either have a mental health condition or they are caring for someone who does. And so it's a great place to find community.
Cliff, anything
It's
else you want?
great that people find out that they're not alone, that what they're going through to traumatic circumstances or major deployments or their loved ones with traumatic brain injuries or severe cases of PTSD, that they're not unusual, that there's so many people out there in need of just knowledge, educational, how to talk to their loved ones, how to de escalate mental health crises. A major part of our program is teaching people where to reach out, resources. Uh, the great thing about NAMI is we cooperate and work with other programs. And so if people are having problems, if they call our warm line, we give them resources throughout the communities where they live, where they can reach for help, not just from NAMI, but from other organizations that deal with wounded or injured veterans, whether that might be Wounded Warrior, Endeavors, the Cohen Center, the San Antonio Coalition of Veterans, uh, and numerous other groups. And it's great to see that people find out that they're not alone, that there are supportive networks out there, that there are resources. So that's a vital part of our course is teaching what's available at the Veterans Administration for services, what's available from the military for military people, and in the local community. And NAMI is in every state in the United States, and all the programs, as we mentioned before, are totally free and empirically researched and validated.
And one of the things I would like to say too is as after Operation Enduring Freedom, after Operation Iraqi Freedom, the focus hasn't been so much on the military members and their families going through that. But with like the NAMI Homefront, you get veterans or people dealing with veterans from the Korean War, from Vietnam, from Desert Storm. And, they're still struggling. That conflict may be over, but the service member and the family is still struggling.
Okay, good point. I'd like to thank you both for what you do. and a willingness to give back. I do have a final question. After a long day, after a long class, and it's all finally over, you get to sit back and reflect. That's done. On to the next. What gives you an opportunity to smile and say, that went well? What do you appreciate from what you're doing?
Well, I think
For
for
me, it's the
me,
feedback. Uh, to see the feedback that students say how much we helped uh, in their journeys with taking care of their loved ones or helping them through their struggles, uh, dealing with veterans, some of whom have been grievously injured. And when they're injured, it affects the entire family. So when we get feedback of how much our program helps, it reinforces why I do this.
I think for me, just after every class, I just really enjoy working with Cliff. He's such an encourager. He's funny, but also connecting with the families. It just does something when you feel like you've been seen and heard, and I feel like Homefront gives them that opportunity to feel seen and heard.
Super. Okay. Again, thank you both so much for what you do and being on today.
Thank you.
Thank you.